Always great chatting with my next guest, Julia Budd, who's back in action coming up here on August 21st. She's going to be taking on Jessy Miele at Bellator 244. Julia, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks.
Well, I'm glad to see you have a fight. I know the last time we spoke, a little bit uncertain as to when you would get back in the cage. Is there like a sense of relief just knowing you have your next fight booked? Because there was a lot of uncertainty with COVID-19.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was looking forward to getting back in there, and it was great. I kind of knew probably like 6 or 7 weeks ago that I'd be back in there at some point. So like soon. So they had told me, be ready, and I am. So yeah, I'm pumped.
So they gave you a date, I assume, and then it was just a matter of finding the opponent, or did you know about Jessy even back then?
I didn't know about Jessy. It was actually maybe going to be Amanda Bell. It was going to be somebody, but I just knew I had to be ready for, whatever. They didn't know the exact date, but they said, within this amount of time, just be ready to go. So I was kind of just training for whoever they were going to put in front of me.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first card you've been on with Lance Jr., right? Because normally you guys sort of schedule your fights, in different spots, just because I know you like to help each other out. So was that like a preference, or was that just the way Bellator booked this? How did that come together?
No, we asked for it because just with all the like quarantining and the difference, and we didn't want to be, put like a month apart and have to be in this 14-day period. We're like, let's do this together. And we've been training together. We've been each other's training partners this entire camp because the gym was closed until June, and up until June we were only training with one another and getting ready. So we were like, you know what, let's just keep the ball rolling and fight on the same card. So we asked Bellator, and they were able to make it happen. So we're super, we're just really excited.
And he got a great opponent too. I was looking Shane Crutchin, a guy who's fought, Aaron Pico. He's fought, I think, Gerald Mershart in like his first pro fight. So he's fighting a guy that's really well known. So I really like the matchup with him, and hopefully can have an interview here with Lance here soon. But last time we talked, I know training was still sort of restrictive. One of the lucky things about us living in British Columbia is that phase 3 was, like you said, back in June. So I imagine, are things close to normal, or how are things going?
It's been good. It's still kind of, we've got a small bubble of people that we train with specifically. So we know, there's probably like 3 or 4 training partners for me, 3 or 4 for Junior. And then our sparring partners, we've kind of linked up that the other guys that are training and fighting at our gym have one training partner that they're with. So they know that they haven't been in contact with anyone else. And we've just been taking it we've been really careful. But because we don't want to have any, we don't want this coming through the gym or anything like that. And so we've been really kind of taking it, being conservative. And but it's been good. Yeah, it's been good.
Well, it must be a benefit as well that obviously your husband's your coach, and then Lance obviously is, like you guys always train together. So most people are in smaller groups anyways, but in your case, you guys hang out together anyway. So it's like, your bubble's pretty small, so to speak.
Exactly. You know what? Yeah, we've definitely been lucky to have each other that we can train with and get ready for this with.
So Jessy Miele, she's someone I've actually known about for a while. I remember she fought in CES. She's been in Bellator, obviously your last fight. I assume you knew about her just because she did fight in Bellator last fight.
Yeah, I actually, she fought the night before Lance Jr. did last year in Connecticut. So she fought Talita, who I had fought before. And I was able to watch it live and be there and kind of see that girl fight, their fight happen. And I was impressed because I saw her, grind out the win against Talita. And and I kind of knew, all the girls, I'm ready to fight anyone in the 145-pound division. And I knew that it might be her, it might be Amanda Bell. So I was just kind of getting ready for whoever. And, I know what her strengths are, I'm ready for it. So.
And it's something we've talked about with Bellator. They've done a really good job of, getting that featherweight division moving. Like you look in the UFC right now, they don't have any featherwweight fights booked since the title fight. You must be feeling pretty good about being in Bellator because they're really making it a priority.
It's awesome. You know what? They've got the 145-pound division, and they're building it, and they're committed to it, and it's been awesome. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get in the cage on August 21st.
One of the interesting things I was going to ask you is, how's your corner situation looking? Like, will Lance corner you after his fight, or how's that going to work on August 21st?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be cornering him and before my fight, and he'll be cornering me after his fight. So Yeah.
That's kind of exciting. I mean, and especially like if he goes out there and gets a win, do you think that'll kind of give you a little boost heading into your fight? Because I've seen that before where teammates fight on the same card and it really sort of helps them. Is that something you've thought of?
Well, I mean, it's because it's our first time doing it. I haven't really thought that much about it, but I just know that when we train, whenever we spar at the gym, and I think it'll be interesting with no crowd, because when we spar at the gym, he always does his rounds before, so I kind of corner him before I get in there and do my job in the gym. So we've been getting ready like that with like kind of like no sound, everybody around the cage, and kind of getting ready for it, what it might be like. And I think that, yeah, definitely after, the adrenaline that I get when he fights, it will definitely help for my fight. So, yeah, it'll be good.
And have you been pretty happy with the camp, all things considered, with, being limited and, training partners and, being able to use the gym and things like that? Have you been pretty happy with it? Just everything you've sort of been dealt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, it's about adapting, right? So being a martial artist and being able to adapt to different environments and be able to be successful in different environments. And I'm ready, and I'm ready to shine on August 21st.
How's this fight playing out on August 21st? Very, very, very cool matchup, like I mentioned.
I plan on finishing the fight. If whether it's a first round, second round, third round, I'm in great shape and I'm ready to do everything I need to make it happen. I'm motivated, and I'm especially motivated after losing on January 25th. So it's been it's extra motivation. It's a little chip on my shoulder, and I feel like I want to go out there and make things right. So.
And it's a 3-round fight, which is so weird for you because the last couple of fights have been 5 rounds, right? So I'm sure it's a little bit different fighting in that as well.
Yeah, this is the first time I've fought 3 rounds in I think like 4 years. So it's been interesting to prepare for, and just kind of, yeah, I'm just motivated. I'm really motivated. That's all I can say.
Now, it looks like, if I had to guess, I'd say that Blenko's probably next for Cyborg, I would think, just, based off, looking at sort of the rankings and stuff in Bellator. Do you think that bodes well for you? Because you already have a win over her. So, I mean, if she goes out there and let's say she upsets Cyborg, I mean, you could be right back in there.
Yeah, I think either one. I think I can never look past, you never look past opponents. And I need to make sure I go out there and I make a statement on August 21st. I let everybody know I belong in that title fight, whoever it is. I beat Arlene twice. And I got my last loss to Cyborg. So it's like I'm right in there, and I'll be ready to go. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan on August 21st, which, I'm plan on it. So I'll be right back in there for that title shot. But I gotta make a point first.
Speaking of making a point, I've really been impressed by a lot of the work you've been doing in the community here in BC, and just, all the work you've been doing with, Black Lives Matter and advocating for, rights. And I think, the time now is to sort of, get the word out there. Have you been encouraged by the response? Because I saw some of the videos you've been posting, some of the gatherings you've been having. It seems like a lot of people are really on board with this to try and fight racism.
Yeah, I think that us as Canadians, sometimes we look across the border and we think it's an American problem, and we're not aware of what goes on here in our hometowns. And so what led up to that? So I led a Black Lives Matter march June 7th on the Sunshine Coast. And we plan on having another march in September 20th for, based on our Indigenous people and some of the stuff that they've been facing when it comes to hospitals, policing, court system. We've been meeting over the summer and just kind of talking about that and planning another march on the Sunshine Coast. So, but on June, a couple of things that happened to my family, like Lance Jr.'s black, my husband's black, things that happened leading up to that George Floyd murder. And it just got me, it got me really, really upset, enraged, as well as the rest of the world by by what's going on. And I put out a post to my community, and we ended up having a march of like 2,500, 3,000 people show up in Sechelt. And it was really powerful. It was an amazing day, but it's important that we shed light on the racism here. And that's kind of the biggest thing, is that it got me thinking, when I saw what happened, it got me thinking the stuff that I'd seen, growing up in Sechelt, and just seeing with my own family, like when we go down and we fight in certain states, and it's just like we play by different rules because things are not safe for my family necessarily to go walking or running outside. We don't do that. Like when we were fighting down in Oklahoma, it's like we can't go for a jog outside with Lance Jr. I could do that, and then it's like we just thought it was kind of normal. Like, it's weird. It's like, I can't believe that I've accepted that for the last 5 years. Like, okay, yeah, whenever we go for a run, don't do that, because they got Confederate flags up. They've got signs that say, like, they'll shoot on sight if you step foot on their property. Well, that could be on the road, and they could say we were on their property. Like, it's just stuff that we've thought about over the years and just kind of almost didn't ignore, but it's so wrong.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I saw some of the stories you posted. Like, I remember you mentioned that time you went out for dinner with, I think it was Lance and Lance Jr., and someone made a comment about how they wanted to move tables or something like that. And there was the other story you had about, I think it was Lance Sr., like, was waiting for his dad, and a cop came up to him. Like, this is in Canada, which it happens. And I think it's good that you're sort of shining light on that, because we do often look at the Americans and say, hey, it's just an American thing, but it does happen here. So, props to you for getting the message out, because I really think it's great what you're doing and using your platform as well to sort of get the message out there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's important. And I see the protests and the people, marching, and that's how change actually happens. So at first, I think that it's important that people realize that using our voice, that is what makes change happen. Because sometimes it can feel like we're helpless and we stay silent on things that matter. And I think it's just important that we talk and we share, and we, share the stories that we're experiencing. So that's kind of the biggest message. And I had so many people reach out after and before the event on June 7th that we had on the Sunshine Coast about times they'd experienced racism, and times that they had been discriminated against, and times that, just it was powerful for sure. And it brought people together, and it shed light on, it showed our community, especially the youth, like, okay, it's important to stand up when you see somebody getting treated wrong, because of the color of their skin specifically, but at any time. So I think it got a great message out, and I'm proud of it. And it was definitely powerful. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life, for sure.
Is that something you've spoken to Bellator about? Like, I don't know what you're allowed to do in terms of what you can wear in the cage or put a message out there. I don't know, even after the fight, if you're allowed to say anything. Is that something you've spoken to them about? Because obviously you do have a big platform being a former champion.
No, I've never. And what sucks about it is that it becomes political, right? So it's like, what sucks about this is it's human rights, and it shouldn't be about politics. It shouldn't be about the Republicans, the Democrats, or conservatives, or liberals, or whatever you want to call it. And everybody's turning it to make it into something that it's not, when it's about people just making sure that people have equal rights and that there's equality when it comes to the color of people's skin. So I feel like now people are kind of not wanting to touch on the topics because of politics. But at the end of the day, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to get into it, but asked any permission to say anything or do anything. But yeah, maybe I'll say something at the end of my fight.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just curious, because the work you've done, and like I said, has been incredible. And I don't know if enough people know the work you're doing here. So I just, thought I'd mention it, because obviously I think it's really great what you're doing and using your platform, like I said, which is awesome. I do want to end things on a quick question, because obviously we're in the middle of summer right now. Fishing, I know you and Lance Jr., you like to do that, but obviously with COVID, I'm sure it's very difficult. Have you guys got out at all this year? Are there any plans even after this fight to do some fishing trips? Because I know it must suck not getting to go to the States right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. The guys have been out. They've been getting some lingcod, and the Chinook are the season's open, so we've got some great salmon. I haven't actually gone out with them for fishing. They've done a few fishing.
It's like
trips.
Their thing too. You kind of want to give them their space a little bit, I'm sure. And I know you go sometimes, but it's probably nice for them to sort of bond and do that thing on their own, right?
And they're hardcore. Like I'd want to go out for like a couple hours and come back in. They're out there all day. They love it. So, they've been out though a few times, and it's been good.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to this fight. It's coming up here August 21st. It is Bellator 244. Julia, I want to thank you so much for the time, as always. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, definitely. So you can find me at Champion Jewel on Instagram. My shout outs are Apollo Sheet Metal, Strike Recovery, Gibson MMA, and tune in on Paramount Network August 21st.